Assalam guys, Ifan back again with another video, and in this video what we will do is we will see how we can get Excel to automatically sort a column, and we will for this example we would not be using any VBA, any Visual Basic. We will be using standard Excel functions. So let's get started. Now what I've done is I've gone ahead and put these headers up here. What we'll do is we'll have is a list of salespeople and the annual sales. And what we would want to happen is the annual sales figures to get sorted. And in this column here, this will be the unsorted as you type in, and the sorted version would come up here, and the salesperson, the correct salesperson name would show up in front of the sorted annual sales figures. Now, we will be doing this in two different methods. We'll be using a helper column and we will be using a table method. So let's get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start punching in some figures here. So we have a salesperson card bill, and let's see his, I'm just going to try and put in some numbers for his names and sales figures. Okay, and we will see how we will get Excel to sort it for us. Okay, and these are just random numbers I'm typing in, just random names and random numbers. Yes. Okay, and let's see, 4159, maybe 218, yeah. And let's put Tom, and Tom with 35, 49, 417 maybe. Okay, alrighty. Now, what we want is, now if you see, John is the salesperson with the highest annual sales. So his name and his numbers need to come up in the first row. Okay. Now, after that, Bill is the second highest. So his figures would come in here. And then you have Julie, and then you have Bob, and Tom is the lowest. So we would want those numbers showing up here. Okay. So first of all, what we'll do is we need to have a list, the serial numbers going down. So this would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we will be using that as the helper column. Okay. Now the way we would want that, there are two ways of doing this. We can either put in manually the numbers and just put 1 and 2 and then drag them down. But let's automate this because what we want to do is we want to be able to just copy the formula down and have it figure things out for itself. Okay. So what I'm going to do is we know this is a text. Okay. If I add 1 to it, it's going to give me an error. Okay. But if I use a sum function, then it will not give me an error. So if I just say sum, it says number 1, number 2. So this would be number 1 and number 2 is 1. Okay, so we've got 1. Now if you see, what it does is it takes whatever is in column E1 and adds a 1 to it. Now if I were to copy this down, it will take whatever's in E2 and add a 1 to it, and then all the way down. So you've got E2 and add 1 to it, E3 add 1 to it, and see how the numbers comes in sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now the next step that we're going to do is we are going to first sort the annual sales figures. Okay. Now for that, what we'll do is we'll use the large function. Okay. Large, when you do that, it asks you for the array or what you want sorted, and the K is, if you put a 1 there, that means the highest. If you put a 2, that means the second highest. Okay. So this is basically your array. And instead of K, we 1, 2, 3, 4, we'll just use this helper column. Okay. And gross expenses. Okay. Now, if I were to copy this down, we'll have a problem. Okay. Now the problem is, see, this should have been Bill. Okay. 5.7 million. Okay. That's because if you see this one, the array is from B2 to B6. Okay. But in this case, everything has crept down online. Okay, so what we want to do is we need to first lock the array. The way you do that, you highlight that and you hit F4. So Excel will insert dollar symbols in front of the letters and the numbers. Uh, so if I do, just go ahead and hit F4, now hit enter. Now if I were to drag this down, what will happen is this will stay as B2 and the ending array limit will be B6. Okay, so we've got that done. So highest was 7.6 million, then we have 5.7 million, then 4.15, 4.10, and 3.5. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to have the salesperson name show in front. So we cannot use a VLookup. The reason why we cannot do a VLookup is because we'll be looking up this, and for VLookup, the array in which you want to do the searching, the lookup has to be to the right, but in our case it is to the left. So what we'll do is we'll use an index match combination. I've done a video earlier and I'll put a link down in the description, and you can review that video after this. But let's just go ahead and I'll explain here again how it is done. So index. Now this is the array. Where do you want the array coming from? So basically this is the array. Now match, what are you matching? You're matching this against the lookup array is over here, comma, and we want an exact match. Okay, now remember the problem that we had when we dragged this down without putting the dollar signs? We'll have the same problem here. So what we need to do is we need to lock A2 and A6. Just highlight and hit F4, that put dollar signs in front of those numbers and letters, thereby locking it. And then we also need to lock B2, B6. Okay, there you go. Now if I were to copy this formula down, see John has the highest sales figures, and then you have Bill with 5.7, then you have Julie at 5.1, and then you have Bob at 5.10, and then Tom at 3.5. Now if I were to actually copy all these three rows down one more row, this gives you an error because this is blank. Okay, so just ignore this error for now. Now let's put in another figure here. Let's put in Todd makes maybe 89, 47, 156. Okay, now if you see, this is the highest. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to go back and readjust this array. Okay, and bring it all the way down. Just ignore this number error for now because we still need to go fix this. And there you go. And I'm going to bring this all the way down. There you go. See how Todd showed up at the top? Because with 8.9 million, he's the first. He's the highest grossing salesperson. He's got 8.9 million. Next comes at 7.6, which is John. So how you know how John just moved down one line? Now, if I were to, let me show you. If I were to delete this, see what happens? John automatically moves up because now he's the first. I got rid of Todd, and therefore John is the number one salesperson now. Let me just undo this, Control Z, and Todd is number one. Okay, now problem. The problem is every time we need to do this, every time we put in more data, we need to fix this array, and we need to copy the formulas down. Okay, now there should be a better way, and actually there is, and I'm going to show you in the second method. That's the table method. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this data over here. Well, you know what? Let's not do that. Let's first put in the formulas. Okay. Now, what I want is here. I'm going to use the large function. Okay. Array. I'm just going to use the first cell only. So the range is only from B2 to B2. Okay. And then I need to know the value of A. Here I am not using a helper column. Okay. Now I'm going to have Excel generate the 1, 2, 3s for me automatically without the helper column. Okay. Now I know this is row number 2. So if I take the row number and subtract a 1 from it, that will give me a 1. So row number 2, so 2 minus 1 gives you a 1. Row number 3, so 3 minus 1 gives you a 2 for the second line. Row number 4 minus 1, 3 gives you 3 for the third line. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll use a row function. Okay. Returns the row number of the reference. If I just do an open bracket, close bracket, that means the current row minus 1 close bracket. Okay. Now that's just ignore this number for now. Okay. Remember how we over here we had to lock the reference. Now because we're using a table method and this formula will automatically get copied down, what I want to do is I want to lock the first letter, not the second one, because I want the array to expand as we enter more information in the table. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight the first letter B2 and hit F2 on it and hit enter. Okay, now for the salesperson, now again we'll be using index A2 comma match sales figures comma 0. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and again lock the first part of the reference here and the first part of the reference here. Okay, done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this into a table. The way I do that is I highlight these first 2 rows. Okay, and I hit Control P. This Excel will give you this pop-up. It says where is the data of a table A1 through D2. So A1 through D2, and make sure this is checked. My table has headers, so this will maintain these headings. Okay, click OK, and now you see how the look has changed. And you can also give it a name. Okay, let's just say sales figures. All right, now let's go ahead and type in bill as we did earlier, and 5737020, and you hit tab. Okay, then you put John, and John made 7607330, tab. Now when you hit tab, what it does is and you hit tab at the last line, the last column in the last row, it inserts a new line in the table. And now John makes 7.6, so that automatically has gone up. Okay, tab, because we'll be entering more names in there. Bob made 4102, 403, tab. Now you see how Bob ended up in line number 3. Now once we type Julie, she should replace Bob in the 3rd position, and Bob should come down to the 4th position because she makes slightly more than Bob, because Bob only made 4.10 million as opposed to Julie, who made 4.15. Okay, so when I hit tab, Julie is going to go up here and her figure, sales figure 4.159 million will show up here. Bob will automatically move down, and his sales figures will move down too. See what happened? Julie went up there. Okay, let's type in Tom, and Tom was the person with the lowest sales figures, so he is at the bottom of the list, and he will remain in the bottom of the list. Okay, now let's type in Todd with his 8.9 million in sales. Now, as soon as I hit tab, what's going to happen is all these guys, John, Bill, Julie, Bob, and Tom, are going to scoot one level down and make way for Todd in the first row. Hit tab, there you go. Now you see how Todd showed up here, and everybody moved down one line. So this way, what you have been able to do is you have been able to have the list sorted automatically. Now, as you enter new data, this is particularly better than the earlier version because here you don't have to copy any formulas down, or you don't have to do anything. Once you have the table set up, that's all you need to do. And when you hit tab on the last cell, it will automatically copy the formula down. Now, if you see here, excuse me, it automatically expands the array, okay, and that's what we want. All right, so that's it for this video. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please kindly give it a thumbs up, and if you would like to see more videos like this, please subscribe. Thank you.